Hey, it's Tuxedo Mark. It's 11:04 a.m. on Sunday, January 24, 2021. And I have just recently watched the first episode of season one of the new Netflix series, Fate the Winx Saga. So I figured I would do like vlog style reviews of each episode as I watch it. Um, I'm an old school Winx Club fan from back in the Four Kids days on, I believe it was Foxbox or Kids Still BB. I don't remember at the moment, but back in 2004, basically. And I didn't watch it quite from the very beginning of the series, but like episode 3 or 4, that's when I started in on it. And I've tried to keep up with it as best as I can. I haven't seen all of the newer episodes. Um, but I like to think that I have a fairly good, decent-ish knowledge of Winx Club. Um, so I was really looking forward to this new series. Now this is a live action adaptation, and while some of the people from Rainbow, the series that the studio that made the cartoon series, are involved, and I believe Bloom's Nickelodeon voice actor Molly Quinn actually read the script or multiple scripts maybe. But other than that, most of the staff comes from like the Vampire Diaries, which I have watched a bit of, and I'm trying to get into it, but I haven't gone very far into that. But so when I read that, I kind of knew what to expect, and then I saw the promo trailer, and then I saw the full trailer, and I was like, yeah, yeah, okay. Um, all right, for those of you that don't know about Winx Club, which I mean, you can watch some of it on Netflix anyway, but it's basically a bright and mostly fun Italian animated series that's been dubbed into English about fairies that attend a school for fairies known as Althea. Um, there were 5 girls at the beginning of the series, and then a sixth one was added. Uh, Now, this live action adaptation is quite different in tone from the cartoon series. It's more like dramatic, and also some of the characters have been changed. But I went into it with an open mind, um, and I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Let me just get that out of the way first. All right. So the first thing that I want to really address is the music, and by the music I mean the songs. And I like the songs. I want to listen to more of it actually. And sure, the background score for the show is good too, but I really like the song selection. Um, and I like the song selection from the promo trailer and the full size trailer. It's really good so far. Um, okay, the cast. I am unfamiliar with the cast like at all. Apparently, this was filmed in Ireland. Um, but I think they do a good job. I won't really address the controversies surrounding the casting and the race changes. Let's just move on. I want to just focus on this show as its own thing. Um, so I think everyone did a good job. Now, one really big, actually, two kind of related big differences that this show has compared to the cartoon is they consolidated a lot of the stuff. On the cartoon series, the School of Althea is located um, in like the realm of magics in the magical dimension or whatever it's called. And each of the girls is from a different planet. Like Stella is from Solaria. Um, and, and so on. Each girl is basically from her own world. In the live action adaptation, there's only one other world from Earth, and it's called the Other World. Like, I'll get to that. But anyway, each what was originally each its own planet on the cartoon is now like its own country or realm in the other world. Also, Althea was only the school for fairies on the cartoon, and there was a separate school for specialists called Red Fountain, and a school for the witches called Cloud Tower. From what I've seen in the first episode so far, the specialists attend Althea, and there's a fairy hall and a specialist hall. So easier for the characters to interact, and it cuts down on the number of different locations, the number of different sets that have to be built. So I can understand why they did that. Um, Now, on in the cartoon, Bloom finds out that she's a fairy in the first episode and gets Alfie by the end of the first episode. Here, she's just arriving at the gates of Althea, which didn't happen until the beginning of episode 2 of the cartoon. And what happened is apparently the headmistress had already gone to her. It was Stella that brought her to Althea on the show. Here, the headmistress did got in contact with Bloom, and Bloom first meets Stella at Althea. Um, so Bloom's a girl from Earth that discovers she's a fairy. She has magic. Um, she's like the fairy of fire magic. I don't know if they call it that here, but on the cartoon it's called the Dragon Fire. And uh, Stella is the fairy of the sun and the moon, mostly the sun, I guess. Um, Aisha was introduced in the second season. Here they introduced her early on. She's like a fairy of water. They got rid of Techna from the cartoon. She was like the fairy of technology. Yeah, fairy of technology. It's kind of weird, but anyway, there's been controversy over the removing of Techna. They also replaced Flora, the fairy of earth and vegetation and stuff like that, with Terra. And Terra states here that she has a cousin named Flora. I'm not sure why they did that, but anyway, there's also Musa, the fairy of music. Um, that that's all of them, right? Okay. Um, so uh the headmistress has been changed slightly. On the cartoon, she was Miss Farragonda. Here she is Ms. Farah Dowling. Again, not sure why they changed her. She's still a woman with gray hair, so I don't know. But anyway, I know there were at least two of the specialists from the show, from the cartoon that came over. There were Sky and Riffin. Um, Sky is like Stella's ex-boyfriend, I think, and Riffin. I forget who's paired with who on the cartoon now, but Riffin's there. They also introduced another specialist um, named Dane. Um, So now apparently they on on the cartoon only girls could be fairies, only boys could be specialists. Here we've got female specialists, I've noticed, and just looking at Wikipedia, it seems there's going to be male fairies as well, which it's fine, whatever. Um, I noticed that the show is filmed rather darkly. Yeah, it's definitely not as bright as the cartoon. Um, but so, eh, I would have preferred it to be a bit more bright in places. I guess they're going for like some kind of moody atmosphere. Um, Also, this is odd, but Bloom is the only one with an American accent, and everyone else has a British accent, which is odd. Now, the original cartoon is Italian. It's got multiple English dubs, including from 4 Kids in America and also another one in Canada. So, I mean, depending on which language and which region that you're um, watching it in, everyone's going to have like the same type of accent. But on this show, at least in the English version, we've got mostly British accents, probably because of Harry Potter, which they actually do discuss in the first episode. But Bloom's American. She's from California, which there's been a theory in the fandom that her town of Gardenia in the cartoon is actually in California, maybe. Um, so the first episode covers basically the welcome day, the first day at school. We're not in class yet. Bloom is advised to take her training slowly because magic is dangerous. Bloom theorizes she has a distant fairy ancestor, which is what Miss Dowling told her. We know from the cartoon that that's not true. I mean, she's that cover up wasn't used on the cartoon, but basically Bloom is adopted on the cartoon, and I have a feeling that that's the case in the live action adaptation as well. Um, so Bloom does not get along with her parents. Um, she has she has a lot of anger issues. It's not dealt with too much as to what's triggering her anger in the first episode, but basically her mom has had enough of her. She actually took her door off her bedroom um, doorway so that Bloom will have no privacy. Um, and Bloom's moody. She doesn't want to go out. Her mom wants her to go out. There's just a bunch of like teenage parental drama there. Um, Also, Sky is Stella's ex, and but they sleep together in the first episode again. And there's just a bunch of teen drama there. Let's see. Oh, fla- During one of the flashbacks, it's revealed that Bloom's fire powers awaken, and she set fire to her parents' bedroom unintentionally, and her mom got like third-degree burns. So that's scary. And Bloom has refused to sleep in her house. After that, she went and slept somewhere elsewhere because she didn't want to harm her parents. And now we don't see a flashback, at least not yet, of how Bloom was recruited for Althea. But apparently, Miss Dowling gave like a cover story that's a boarding school in the Swiss Alps. So that's where Bloom's parents believe she's at. And yeah, they don't know that she's a fairy, which is completely different from the cartoon where they find out in the first episode. um, Now, as slight thing that's kept from the cartoon is Stella is the first fairy that Bloom meets. Um, Stella was like Bloom's contact at Althea. Um, and the five girls all share a room, just like on the cartoon. Um, not Bloom, Stella is a second year student, but she's in a first year room for some reason, and they don't have an explanation for it. Yeah, they kind of address it on the show, like why Stella in the first year room? I don't know. Um, I don't know if rooms were divided by year on the cartoon. I know Stella was like, it wasn't her first year at Althea during the first season of the cartoon, but she roomed with other girls anyway, including Bloom, who was a new student. And then they all graduated at the same time anyway. Oh, yeah, I believe Stella was held back on the cartoon, I think. Um, but anyway, so the school is protected by a barrier from something called the Burning One or the Burning Ones, basically creatures that burn people alive. Um, Outside, it's not safe outside, and we see it in the opening scene when some farmer or whoever gets burned. Yeah, and they come across his body later. Um, so Bloom gets homesick. Stella gives her her ring, which her ring turns into like her staff on the cartoon series. Here it's like a gateway ring to open up the gateway between the other world and Earth, or as the other world residents call it, the first world. So I guess Earth was first and then they were second. Uh, they need to come up with better names for these realms. It reminds me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the original um, sitcom from the 90s, where the witches call the realm in which they live the other realm. It's like, why would they do that? Um, but anyway, so maybe it's just the British accents because only Techno was British in the cartoon and only in the 4 Kids dub. Um, but with them having British accents, it kind of makes it difficult for me to think of them as the same characters from the cartoon. Stella having a British accent is just weird, I think. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. Um, anyway, Stella allows Bloom to borrow her ring, or she offers it, I guess, maybe. So Bloom can visit her parents at home, except she doesn't go in the house. She stays a distance off and then calls her parents and watches through the window. Uh, Her parents are at like, I don't know, the kitchen table, I guess, or whatever. Her mom, she can see her mom's face. I'm surprised her mom can't see her. But anyway, um, they're like, this is where you belong. You belong there. You're on your own path. as much as it might hurt us, because yeah, Bloom's mom wanted her to be a cheerleader. Bloom is an introvert. Um, Now on the cartoon, I mean, it didn't really show that Bloom really had friends, but it's mostly because she was really childlike and she believed in fairies. Here it's just she's she's angry, and maybe it has something to do with her mom having expectations for her. And I'm sure that, taking the door away from her room certainly didn't help matters, taking away her privacy. Um, on the show, on the cartoon, Bloom's parents were basically just normal, caring parents. They didn't always give her what she wanted, but you know, their relationship was a lot more functional than it is here. Um, Also, uh, on the cartoon, there were three witches, Icy, Darcy, and Stormy, and they call themselves the Trix, Trix. Here, they've been consolidated into one character, an air fairy named Beatrix. Um, so yeah. Um, let's see. The episodes are fairly long, ranging from like 47 to 53 minutes, and I didn't feel bored at all watching it. So I would venture to say that these 6 episodes are roughly equivalent to about 12 episodes of the cartoon, maybe 13, which is about half of the first season of the cartoon. Um, the pace is a lot slower than on a cartoon, because on the cartoon you gotta keep the action going to keep the kids interested, and a lot of stuff happens, even though not a lot of stuff happens. Uh, if that makes sense. And in the live action adaptation, a lot of stuff happens in terms of like character development, even though not a lot of stuff actually happens, and the show takes its time. So it's very different pacing wise from the cartoon. Um, but that's fine. And let's see. Oh, here's some interesting stats. Uh it's already the third day of release. It came out on Friday the 22nd. It's now Sunday the 24th, but it's still number one on Netflix. And I don't know if it was number one when it dropped, but I noticed it was number one today. Um, let's see. Um, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got only an average tomato meter score. The the novelization on Amazon, it's called The Fairy's Path. It's doing very well in various categories. It is among the likes of like Star Wars, Disney, Avatar. That's Avatar: The Last Airbender. The Hobbit by Tolkien. It's only like shortly behind that on one list. It's uh, it's doing very well. I noticed it slipped somewhat since I last checked on like two of these lists, but number two on teen and young adult, media's high in ebooks. That's very good. It's behind only like a Star Wars book, and it's above like some Disney books. So it seems to be doing well, and it seems to be doing well with audiences, like TV audiences. So I would be very surprised if this did not get a second season. Um, I look forward to watching the rest of the episodes. It's definitely more adult than the cartoon. I mean, I haven't seen any nudity. It's like rated TV 14, I believe, for like language and smoking. There is a bunch of language in here. But I don't mind that because I'm the kind of person that has read fanfics and writes fanfics, and inevitably there's cursing. There's a lot of cursing. Um, so I'm someone that's okay with that because of the way that I approach fan made works. I'm like, okay, everything's okay. Everything's okay. So I just have, I guess, a large degree of tolerance for that. Uh, anything that else I want to say about episode one specifically? Oh yeah, Bloom loses Stella's ring. She's chased by a burning one. Um, Miss Dowling saves her, and Bloom gets back into the other world. But the burning one now has Stella's ring to open gateways between the worlds. So that's not good. And presumably it might be able to open gateways to other parts of the other world as well. I don't know if that was established yet. But anyway, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I think I'm going to watch only one episode per day, not necessarily every day, just whenever I have free time to be able to watch it, which I don't really right now with relatives over, although they're out at the moment. That's why I'm able to do this. Um, but yeah, I want to savor this series and really take it one episode at a time and share my thoughts on one episode at a time. Um, so yeah, I hope you kind of sort of enjoyed watching this, or at least tolerated it. Um, and I look forward to the next episode. See you then. And it's 11:33 a.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.